If you could switch places with Johnny Somali, do you think you could charisma check your way out of being screwed? Johnny Somali? Bro, this guy, he's having a really bad time. Let me just say that. He has been having an extremely bad time.
It's safe to say one of the most disliked live streamers in the world just realized he destroyed his life chasing internet attention in South Korea, as things have somehow got—
I don't think that's true, because that would imply that he's capable of self-reflection, which is usually something that people above an 80 IQ have the ability to do.
Not only has he been slapped with more charges, but one of these new charges, they come with a mandatory prison sentence of at least 3 years if convicted.
Damn.
And considering South Korea has about a 99% conviction rate, it's not like you really need to be a legal expert to see where all of this is going. But what makes all of this even dumber is the fact that Johnny, just like everything else, live streamed him doing everything. Just like how he live streamed himself prank calling the police for $5.
$5? What a cheap bitch!
Stalking other streamers, showing up late to his own trial after drunkenly insulting the judge and prosecutors while also live. Oh, in his new defense, he's apparently trying to pull the I'm bipolar card to avoid jail time. Good luck.
I think that the real card he should play is that he does not have the mental capacity to understand that what he's doing is wrong. I've got to play the insanity card.
With that, especially because he's already pleaded guilty to 3 charges in the exact same case. So today we're diving into how Johnny somehow managed to stack 5 criminal charges in just a few months, all of which could send him to prison for years, all for the attention of like, what, 20 teenagers online. But on top of that,
I don't know if it's that many.
We're also talking about a new investigation which could lead to another decade in prison for him. So it's safe to say things are just not going his way over there.
No.
And speaking of doing stupid stuff live, he also leaked a conversation between his pretend lawyer and his real lawyer live.
Why does he have a pretend lawyer? Why? What do you have? What? What the hell?
As of right now, I saw him pleading guilty to 3 charges. This was for disruption of business revolving around the incident at 7-Eleven in Mapo. Then there were the 2 Minor Crimes Act violations, which are essentially misdemeanors here in the US. One for twerking on people and blasting music on the subway, and one for shoving a rotten fish in people's faces and blasting music on a public bus. And since then...
So, wait a minute. This is like one of those NPCs in a video game. So you have this random idiot with a camera holding a dead fish, and he's trying to run at people and annoy them, and he doesn't speak the language. Like, this is like something out of a cartoon. Really, like, there are crackheads with more composure than this. He needs to just plead insanity. Yakuza side mission? Yes!
He's been hit with even more charges. His deepfake charge, which carries a minimum of 3 years in prison if convicted. Yep. Then there's another obstruction of business charge involving Latte World. And then on top of that, to make things even worse for the dude, there's a new investigation that can give him an additional 10.5 years in prison if they end up going through and charging him with this. And that investigation is for child harassment. And this revolves an incident of him spamming horrific slurs at kids in Korean while at Latte World. Latte World, if you didn't know, is a kids theme park that has similarities to Disney.
This is weird. Who does this? Who does this? Is weird.
Disneyland.
So he's going into the starter zone and he's trying to harass people and PvP them? That's not even fair. In any game, you would get banned for this. Yeah, he's smurfing. And you know what? He's probably still gonna get outmaneuvered by, you know, there's like some 8-year-old.
He lets people donate to use him as a proxy to harass kids in the worst way possible. And while he doesn't understand Korean...
Keep in mind that this is the same person that was spamming Hiroshima, Nagasaki in Korean because it would make them mad because then they got bombed in World War II. Like, this is the galaxy brain at work.
Wouldn't be able to understand what the text-to-speech was saying. At the end of the day, it's still on him. He's allowed himself to be this vessel for these completely unacceptable interactions. The last thing you want as a parent is, you know, taking your kids to some theme park for them to be harassed through some dude's speaker as he's filming and live streaming your kid's reaction for the entire internet.
What the hell is going on? Just put this guy in jail.
And that's why it's so important for these streamers to be extremely careful with how they use the text-to-speech feature in public, as they're the ones...
Here's how you should use the text-to-speech feature in public. You don't. I'm at the point now where, like, unless I was in a private place, I would never use text-to-speech in a public place. And, like, the problem also is, like, for me, like, I don't even live stream IRL at all anymore. Because, like, once you reach, like, a certain viewer size... it becomes a disruption for everywhere you go.
responsible for whatever comes out of the speaker that's on their backpack. But in addition to his public defendant, which is essentially the lawyer he's been using up until now, Johnny has now gone out and got himself a real lawyer. Or, well, it seems like his friend Hank has done so for him. And this is what Legal Mindset and some other Korean legal analysts have said about his new lawyer.
He has two real lawyers, we're not counting Hank. First is a public defender in the Western District. That is a free attorney that is provided in the Western District where he has an active case. He also has a paid attorney in the Eastern District. Now, the Eastern District charges, as we're going to see, are largely being merged into the Western District. So this paid lawyer is unregistered in the West. So this paid lawyer is unaware of the exact proceedings and what's going on in the Western District. So he hired a lawyer that doesn't know the case? He has no idea about what's going on unless he contacts certain people or does extra effort. And it appears that he is kind of being lazy with his proceedings.
This person has less of a self-preservation mechanism than Looney Tunes cartoons. Tom from Tom and Jerry has more of a self-preservation mechanism than this.
This lawyer, it appears he's kind of what you might call in the U.S. a strip mall lawyer. He's got a very heavy Korean, heavy specific regional accent, which is very hard to understand. He also seems to be very inexperienced with criminal procedure because he doesn't understand the concept of merging cases.
We also found out that the prosecutor trying to bring Johnny to justice is a top 10 prosecutor in all of Korea.
Oh, God. Bro, he's going up against an S-rank hunter. He not even E-rank. He gone. Yeah, you got the boss music playing.
Over there also stated that the law enforcement over there is very hard to work with for him due to Johnny's behavior throughout the whole trial. Then to make things even worse, Johnny's lawyer met with the prosecutor to beg them to drop the deepfake charges, but it was too late.
As we're going to see with the deepfake case, the hilarious thing is by the time he met with her, it was already too late. The charge had already been indicted. They'd already moved on. They've already processed this. So it was too late to even do that meeting. But they were trying to beg her to drop it because they thought she could drop it. But she'd already indicted and it had already been moved over to the Western District.
That charge alone could be 10 years in prison for Johnny. So for the sake of his own freedom, it's really about time he starts apologizing for real and changes his ways. But unfortunately for Johnny, I feel like that is just way too late for him now. As Legal Mindset explains the time,
he's done.
Line of the deepfake charges here.
On February 18th, referred the deepfake case to the prosecutor, which means at that point, it's looking pretty solid. And we had that based on the information that Ramsey flashed across the screen. He flashed across a paper which revealed that this was already sent to the prosecutor.
Right.
And I called it out at the time and I said, he's probably screwed on this because this is going to go on to court. If something is sent to the prosecutor, it is highly likely you're going to get an indictment. And then on the 25th, the Eastern prosecutor indicted Ramsey. On the 27th, that indictment moved from the East to the West. The West is where his current case is. They are trying to consolidate everything in that Western District because it's already going, it's already pending. Ramsey and Hank were panicking and they were talking about that with their lawyer. And that lawyer had no idea. I actually predicted that on my stream. I said, his lawyer might not even know because the lawyer is not registered in the West. He's only registered in the East. So he actually wasn't accessing the right court records that were in the Western District. So at that meeting, he actually said, oh, you're not indicted for this. Oh, you're not indicted yet.
So again, he's played his cards in the worst way possible, then put his freedom in the hands of a lawyer who isn't even registered in the correct district. Without a doubt, Johnny or Ramsey deserves a permanent spot in the Hall of Fame of influencer morons for his entire trip to Korea. The dude has essentially turned himself into an international laughingstock for nothing. Then he's also trusting this new lawyer for advice, and clearly he's given him a false sense of security.
The lawyer said it's unlikely since you're American, which actually revealed the inexperience and ignorance of this lawyer. There was an American that went to jail, that was sentenced to 1 year in jail, prison for a single crime. Remember, Ramsey has at least 2 obstruction of business charges already on the docket, 2 Minor Crimes Act, and a deepfake. So Ramsey has over double the amount of charges And that person, that defendant, was completely cooperative with the judge in the court.
Yeah, and Johnny's been anything but that. And unfortunately for Johnny, he outed Hanks and his own lawyer's incompetence himself. As again, he keeps on streaming from his lawyer's office, and by doing so,
streaming from his lawyer's office who doesn't understand the case, can't speak English. This is like a bunch of monkeys trying to put out a house fire with gasoline. Legit 70 IQ. Well, it's people like this usually would have probably gotten filtered out by like the first lion that they see. But like now that you don't have any lions around, you just have these people live streaming. That's the issue. That's the problem. Yeah, we removed natural selection, so now these people have to select themselves.
So what's happening here, guys, is that Hank is trying to be the lawyer, and the lawyer is having to reprimand and say, hey, Hank, like, let me talk first. Stop trying to explain, right? Stop trying to explain. And once again, this is an issue where Johnny didn't understand the Korean, so he just streamed it. But it just shows how incompetent Hank is, and how even a lawyer who he's paying money to is saying, dude, shut up. Like, let me talk.
Why is he live streaming this in general? And Hank is the one who's been telling Johnny that everything was
like an episode of Ed, Ed and Eddie? Yes. It's like, we're going to make $1 million by selling Jawbreakers. So how are we going to do it? We're going to sell each one for $1 million. And we're going to try to sell them to homeless people because they're bad with money. Yeah, it's just
going to be fine. And then, of course, they messed up and didn't mute again.
Bro thought he hired Ed, but he came out that he hired Plank. And they've come up with the idea that maybe if we go to the court case and we stand perfectly still, they won't be able to see me and we can leave.
Wait, that's you. That's me. Wait. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that's an uh-oh face from Hank right there. And part of me kind of wants to feel for him, as he's been guilted into, like, trying his best to defend his friend who's so stupid he would rather live stream his legal counseling than have a better chance at having his freedom back. It's like he doesn't care his own freedom's on the line. It's just so stupid, it's baffling at this point.
Yeah,
but
he doesn't
moving on,
understand.
another clip came out of him threatening to SA the female police officers that were at the
Why would you do that? Why?
I've been to this police station 20 different times.
What do you guys think his IQ is? I think 74.
Going for the maximum sentence here. He just can't shut up and act right because he has to continuously make everything worse for himself over and over again. And there is nothing that's going to stop him from doing so, no matter how much jail time he's facing. Like, he's just making it so clear to the South Korean judge and prosecutors that if they want to stop this behavior, they're going to have to force him to do so. Like, he knows all of this is going to be viewed by them, but still, for some reason, claims that he has no regrets whatsoever.
So my question is basically to Johnny. What I would like to know is if he has any regrets for what he has been doing over the past few years, especially what's been going on in South Korea.
Zero regrets. Zero remorse.
There is no way. Again, he's just sending these
Oh man, what an idiot.
messages to the prosecutor and judge over and over again, it seems. How stupid is it possible to be?
You haven't watched your own videos and all the other things that you've done over the couple of years. You haven't seen anything. You haven't watched anything.
No, whenever I see clips of it, I laugh my ass off. It's funny.
Then on top of that, he also wanted to show up to his next court date wearing the new Kanye gown.
What do you think about
So he wants to show up in a KKK outfit.
the cake outfit at the court? Is that too crazy?
This is it's really impressive. Like, he's a complete psychopath. He needs to be in a padded room. Well, the thing is that I don't even know if he's a psych. I think that, like, in order for somebody to be a psychopath, they have to at least have a degree of understanding of what they're doing. I don't think that he even knows what's going on.
It's a wonderful idea, but you won't even have a platform. You'll just get automatic ban. I know it's a good idea, but why isn't there anybody else doing the stunt? Because
you're right. There's no one else in the world is doing that.
The guys that he's talking to are at least kind of smart, because they understand that they can't reason with him with logic. Like, why would you want to use, like, because, I mean, if you want to show up to your court case wearing a KKK outfit, logic clearly isn't going to work here, right? So they're like, okay, yeah, but why do you think nobody else has done that, though? And then now he's thinking, bro, exactly. I'm the first person that came up with this. I'm the smartest person here. I'm a trendsetter. Yeah, he took it the wrong way. That's why he should do it.
So what could I do at the court? I'm gonna have reporters talking to me at the court, like in 2 days. Like
he thinks he's a celebrity.
Korean news is coming. The last time I flipped them off and I said I love North Korea.
Man, that's crazy.
It seems like his own personal Super Bowl seems to be being the biggest idiot possible and going for the most amount of time in Korean prison. But what he doesn't realize is, once he's in prison for a year, people will forget about him. And then, if he's in prison for like 5 years, almost everyone would have forgotten about him then. And speaking of prison time, the newest investigation might be the worst one for him yet, as he's now facing an additional 10 years in prison if they go forward with this charge. And again, because he live streamed himself doing it, it's not like they have to gather evidence. It's really just if the prosecutor wants to hit him with it or not. But as of right now, his new trial is delayed yet again. So I'm sure Hank is worrying, because that means that Hank will have to foot the bill for Johnny for even longer until he's inevitably arrested. But that's the most recent update for the Johnny Somali case.
Would it be an act of war if he was airdropped into North Korea? No. I think it would be even better. I think that if they send him to North Korea, I would be worried about him becoming a celebrity in North Korea. Like, I think that there's a chance that, you know, like Dennis Rodman, right? Like, he could become really popular in North Korea because of how much he hates South Korea. So, like, because that would be, by the way, that would be the most entertaining outcome, is if he gets sent to North Korea and it turns out that Kim Jong-un likes him. That would be the funniest. We got the white version here in the Philippines. Yeah, Vitali, he realized he destroyed his life. No, he didn't. He doesn't get it. He won't realize it until it's too late. I think that even whenever he's in jail, he's going to think that somehow, like, it's like a good thing that he's in jail, or like everybody's talking about him or thinking about him. Like, I think that there's probably going to be some kind of dumb shit going on with him being in jail. And it's going to be even dumber than you might imagine, man. It's crazy how many of these guys just totally one-shot their entire life. They just do this, and I don't know why. Like, how is it that happened